from Canada. It's the Cannabis Goldsmith, a show about art and design in all its forms. I'm Alex D., a photographer, a writer, a jewelry designer here in southeastern Ontario, Canada. We need art now more than ever, and the Cannabis Goldsmith is here every Wednesday to bring it. Bit late this morning. I'm like, I got up at 4 and it was like, should I do the podcast now? And then the next thing it was like 7:30. So I didn't, obviously. But here I am. It's beautiful. It's sunny on the St. Lawrence River here in southeastern Ontario at the Tribe Studio, where I'm sitting in front of the mic now this morning. The reason why I'm late, I think, is that I've been up late at night doing sound design. I've been designing audio, little bits of audio for projects, for marketing projects, for I'm doing a small video for a local business. I'm just as a favor for the dude who chopped my trees down, and I think I can make a nice video for him that will get him some more business. So I'm going to do that, and while I'm doing it, I'm going to learn how to do it. So there you go. It's like a forcing function. It's like, okay, I can make stuff for myself all the time. That's no problem. But making it for someone else now, and this is a way to learn. So offer your services to somebody if you know. No, not a lot. I mean, don't go bankrupt doing it. But I mean, just, see if you can do something to support a local businessman, and that way you can get some exposure for your own skills too. But in this case, I thought I could make a really cool video for this dude, because I captured him on video as these huge tree chunks were falling down, and he was chopping them down, and I was thinking, ooh, I could make a nice promotional video for the dude for this, with this footage, with this amazing B-roll. It's terrific. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. And that's a training exercise for me. But the audio, the audio with that is, I've been thinking about audio. Like for my whole, I guess for the last 20 years, I've been thinking visually about stuff. Very visually. A photographer, a jewelry designer, you think about how things look, how they appear. You're always thinking about how they look, how people look, how they will look on film or in your digital photograph. You're thinking, this is how they're going to look on the shot, right? You're always looking for that, but you're not really listening, or at least I wasn't listening to what's going on in the audio around and how the audio can reinforce what you're seeing on the video. Like, now here's what I mean. Like, I'm trying to do this tree thing, right? This tree, it's a short, let me describe it to you. You can visualize this, I'm sure. A guy is on a cherry picker, one of those like cranes, right? He's standing in the bucket of the crane. He has a chainsaw, and he's sawing through a thick tree. So obviously he's high up in the air. He's really high up in the air. But the shot is cropped close. So you just see him and the chainsaw and this tree, and he's sawing through the tree, and you get this audio of the chainsaw sound. So that's being captured and recorded, that chainsaw sound. So that helps, if there wasn't any sound and you could see him sawing the tree, you'd understand it, right? You'd understand that he was sawing through the tree. So without the sound, you'd see the tree going down, but with sound, it makes it a more richer environment. But with a sound design, what you do is you say, maybe you can put some music into that, like underneath that, like dun, 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 like that shark from Jaws music, maybe dun, 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 underneath. And you can create this with either with software, with your computer, or with synthesizers, or just a simple bass line underneath there, creating some drama as the chainsaw sound lays on top of it. Yeah, are you following me so far? And the guy's sawing through the tree. The tree is about to fall. The tree is about to, he's about to cut through it, and the tree is about to fall. Now, all this is being captured on video, and you see, all of a sudden, you start to see the tree falling. But back up a tenth of a second, half a second. Before that happens, cut the music off entirely. Cut the dun-dun-dun-dun off. Cut off the chainsaw sound even. Cut everything. Total dead quiet. That's sound design. So in that instance, you turn everything down, and then the tree, the huge chunk of tree starts to fall. And because there's no sound, your entire focus is watching this section of the tree fall. And then subconsciously, you're not thinking that the sound designer has done anything, because you're focused on looking at the tree falling over, right? The limb falling over. But you're not understanding in your brain that the music has all been turned off to reinforce your attention at the visual aspect of the tree falling over. And the guy's job is done. Like, his chainsawing is finished, right? He's finished. He's just standing there watching it, and that in silence. So that's how sound design can even impact a 1 minute video for a promotional, for a small business in an area. If you're doing you can create drama in a Facebook ad instead of, oh, here's my tree chopping company, give me a call. No, you show them a video of this dude in the tree with this highly skilled, dangerous work, and then doing it with a small piece of video like that will stick, right? I'm sure that a video like that is going to get him a lot of business. So, as a guy who's marketed stuff his whole life, I just know that, right? I feel that in my bones. And the thing is, the people seeing the video won't even know, right? They'll think it's just a video. They'll think, oh, it's just a video. But no, there's a sound layer. There's sound being removed. There's cropping. There's, sound. Chainsaw might not even be the chainsaw sound that I recorded that day. Maybe I'll get another chainsaw sound that sounds better and put it in there. See, the people seeing the video are not even going to notice that. They're just going to see it and go, wow. And then when it comes to time to they're having their rotten tree in the house, on the garden, on the front yard to chop down, they're going to remember that, and they're going to call the local guy, right? That's how that works. Now, generally, most people don't go to all that trouble, and a small business guy is not going to have the tools or the skills or the techniques to do that himself, and he's not going to have the money to pay somebody thousands and thousands of dollars in the big city to do that for him, right? And besides, the studio, the marketing, creative crew in the big city, they're not particularly interested in that, and there's no money in it for them. So anyway, maybe I'm filling a little gap here for some lifting up some quality in the marketing space here. Anyway, I don't know. For me, it's just practice, right? It's just getting practice done and learning about audio design, which is what I've been doing for, I guess, since my birthday, which is, time is just going. It's been well over, let me say, six to 8 weeks I've been working on sound with synthesizers and designing sounds. And I've got audio done for podcast series. I've got audio done for YouTube video series. I've learned how to use a drum machine. I've learned how to use a FM synthesizer, and I am now learning how to use an analog synthesizer for bass, for creating bass tones. Just for creating bass tones. That's it. Nothing else. Just bass tones. Weird, eh? Gee. And I'm a jewelry designer. Now, why am I doing all this stuff? Well, I'm a photographer too. Well, you are. You're an artist. You do all this stuff yourself too. You have to learn all these other skills. You have to decide which you have to say you are. Are you the painter? Or are you the photographer? Are you the musician? Are you the sound designer? Well, let's just roll it all into artist. You're the artist. I'm the artist, and I'm going to use these different tools to show people my art, to reinforce it, to make it better, to polish it up. It's funny when you start working in different media, like if a painter starts working with photography, for example, they open up areas in their painting that they normally wouldn't be able to access, I think. It opens up areas in the brain where I don't know, there's the neuroscientists would know more about this, brain plasticity or something, where you start working areas of your brain. It's like the people who go to Pilates and develop core strength. You're developing strength in your brain around art tools or techniques in an area that you can transpose on top of what you actually think you are. Like if you consider yourself primarily a painter, you can bring sound into it. And even if it's something as simple as if you're at a show, if you got a small room, say you have a small room and you're putting some of your paintings in it, maybe it's an empty store, right? Maybe it's an empty store that you've rented from a landlord for a month to show your art. Put some sound in there too, Think about the sound element. Now, it doesn't have to be loud, and it probably shouldn't be too if you're trying to showcase your art, but you might be able to put something in there in the background, white noise, maybe cowbells at the maybe some recorded field recordings of farm, animals or something. In the city, that would be so weird. Like, you can do stuff like this. I know when I sold my house in Toronto, what I did was I had over 100 realtors. This was years ago, and I had over 100 realtors traipsing through, looking at it in Toronto. And what I did was I put a PA speaker in there, and I got some smooth jazz from my friend Rob at Boomtown Records, and I put it on a little media player, and I just ran it in the background on low in the house. And it created this richness in the environment that people, the realtors, I'm sure they're all doing it now, right? In Toronto, or the ones who want to spice up some of their showings are doing it. But I did it. It's like, okay, I'm running music while they're showing the house. And so the gallery in the empty storefront in a downtown somewhere can get rural sounds and run it underneath your art. Do something contrasting or do something strange like that. And it makes it stand out and differentiates you from the next person who just has a room with paintings that you walk in and it's dead quiet in there and you're like, you hear people walking on the floor. You want to enrich your showing and enrich what you're trying to communicate to whoever's in the room looking at your painting or your photograph. If I was going to do a showing of my rave photography or house music DJ photography from the 90s, now I would have a DJ playing. I would have a DJ playing in the room. And the last show I did at the Mercury in Toronto, God, maybe 8 years ago or something like that now. Anyway, a long time ago. 5 years ago? Anyway, I had the DJ. I had cassette tapes playing from the period, right? In the room. So the people looking at the photos on the wall heard the music of the period. I mean, this is simple. This is common sense stuff. But a lot of times as artists, we're too stressed out by showing the work we're too stressed out by wondering whether people will like our work or not. First off, get that out of the way. Don't give a flying F whether people like the work or not. Just show the damn work. That's what you're going to do. But make it your own and enrich it. Make it different than the next person, right? And this is where audio design comes into it. And this is why I've been so enmeshed in it lately for the last 7 or so weeks. I'm thinking, what is there are ingredients lacking in all my favorite YouTubes. I watch YouTubes just to learn how to use stuff, how to fix stuff. But they all could be made better by a little bit of music, and not the free music that you get on, not the free music you get, the royalty-free downloadable music that's the same on that plinky crap music that's on every YouTube video. When you're looking how to for some advice on a Windows software setting or something, and that joyous Windows music that comes on when you're like looking at the video. You don't want that running across if you're trying to communicate something serious about your art or you or whatever, or your writing or your sculpture. You don't want this. You want something else that's unique to what you want to show visually running underneath it, and it has to support what you're trying to show. Like photographs of the 90s cassette tape music. It's really quite simple like that. Or sound effects. Even you can use sound effects. Or get a recorder and go out into a farm field, set it up on a tripod and record sheep for the afternoon, and then play that on a loop in your gallery. And people will either smile and freak out or they won't know what it is, or that'll be interesting at the least. So anyway, that's how sound can be used, right? Those are just a few crazy examples. I'm sure you can think of a million other examples. But I started down this rabbit hole, a word I hate, a rabbit hole of synthesizer stuff. I purchased a used synthesizer from a local guy about 6-7 weeks ago, and it's been nonstop synthesizer stuff since then. I've gone into these deep learning things in the middle of the night. I've been working with them and learning how to use them. And what I've discovered is that it's opened up these areas in my brain. I've already got jewelry product design ideas from designing sound. Like this is how this works. You work on one thing, and like David Lynch said, you drop. You're sitting on the ice, and you drop a line through the hole in the ice to catch a fish, and you have no idea what's going on under there, what's happening, but suddenly, boom, and you pull it out, and this creature comes out onto the surface of the ice and flaps around on this fish, and is it luck? Yes, but it's also that you were there just waiting for it to happen. And this is what's happening with me working on the sound stuff. I'm learning how to use these sound tools, and then I'm starting to get design ideas and marketing ideas around other topics and things. And so anyway, that's how it works. Keep learning. That's the secret. Learn as long as you possibly can, and it'll make all your work better, I think. Anyway. So I'll sum up what I've learned so far about the synthesizing stuff. Drum machine, if you're going to go on a journey of synthesizers, first off, set a budget before you even go there, because it's so addictive. It's such an addictive thing that, especially if you're predisposed to addiction, if you're prone to addiction, be very careful when it comes to buying gear of any kind, whether it's camera lenses or synthesizers or tools. Come on, man. The key secret is that you have to use them. You can't just buy them and put them in a drawer. You have to use them. They have to be usable to be considered tools. Otherwise, you're just paperweighting. You're buying paperweights. Might as well just buy like a block of marble and just use that. Anyway, no, what I've been doing is, first off, I got this synthesizer I bought for like $180. And I sat with it for about a week, just playing with it. And that alone was interesting, just playing with a synthesizer, because I'm not a musician. And it just opened stuff up for me. And I was producing all this sound and different kinds of sound and recording it. And I think I can use this for stuff. And I started just growing to like this little synthesizer, a tiny little box the size of a paperback. Plug it into a big PA speaker in the living room, and man, the sound that comes out of that thing is just crazy. It was like $180. It's like an entire band basically in this thing. But it's the type of synthesizer it is. It's called a Volca FM2 synthesizer, and the FM is a type of sound synthesis that is that I've learned now is difficult to learn. It's a hard thing to learn. Like I never knew this. Like I never knew how hard it was to learn because I had no experience with it. So I just sat down and played with it until I learned how to use it. So not knowing how difficult it was to learn was good, because had I done that, it might have slowed me down. But anyway, I was there sitting there fiddling around with it, and I was producing these great sounds that are quite similar to sounds I heard some of my favorite musical artists produce in the 80s. You know, just great piano sounds and just great washy kind of sounds and stuff like that. But this FM synthesis is interesting. What it is that it has controls. You're battling controls against controls. It's pitching one knob against another knob. You're creating, it's like a person standing, like two people standing across from each other with garden hoses, right? And they're firing the garden hoses at each other's garden hoses. So the water is impacting from the one side and the other side, and it's meeting in the center. And if you move the water slightly against the other water, it changes it. Like imagine the both sides of these hoses, the water meeting in midair. It's kind of like a slight movement on either one will change the how they're interacting. That's FM synthesis. Everything is fluid. Everything is moving. You move a little thing and it changes everything, right? You move another thing and it changes everything against the other thing. And it's complicated. But you end up producing these sounds that are like out of this world sounds, and also world sounds from the world that are produced via electronics that are quite like shocking when you start working with these with an FM synthesizer. These glassy, like just beautiful tones. But you can only hear so much of that stuff before you say, okay, what now, right? What now? And you need beats. So I ended up buying a drum machine. And I learned how to use that. So the drum machine, if you're getting into this rabbit hole, the drum machine is an easier thing to learn how to use. It's more structured. It's locked on time. Most of them, the smaller, cheaper versions are locked on, called quantized, which means that the time stays on time. It doesn't fall out of time, it stays on time. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about hitting keys on time. It's a sequencer, and then you put drum tones on each particular sequence, on each particular step. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, bam, 1, 2, 3, 4, bam. And on those bams, you put particular drum tones. You could put a bass drum, you could put a cowbell. It's so easy to learn. If I can learn how to use a drum machine in an hour and a half, anybody can. So, but that's not enough. A drum machine is not enough, because all you're getting is drums, and drums can't produce those glassy wash sounds that you might want on occasion. And the drums can't produce natural sounds from the world like bird chirps, or they can produce facsimiles of it, but not real, like a real sound of a bird chirping or a train going by. Even the FM synthesizer is not going to be able to produce that sound, or it's going to take you all day to figure out how to do it on that FM synthesizer. And the drum machine can't produce things like that. So you need specialized machines, or you need You need software, or you need to download samples that fill those specific roles in the audio that you want to produce. Now, that's what sound design is about. It's like, okay, what do you want to do with it? Like with the tree chopping example, I'm like, okay, I want to build tension into the video. Okay, there's enough tension in the video even with the sound off. You know, the guy's up in a cherry picker. He's got a chainsaw. I mean, certain death, right? Like, you know, what happens if the tree falls on him, you know, while he's cutting it? You know, and there's tension there already. You know, chainsaws are dangerous. You can hear it. It's going, and like, there's danger. But you wanna lift that. You wanna fluff it out more. So that's what that's about, right? And it builds, and not loud, even just subtly in the background. You can even use breathing. You know, you go, and then cut it, and then with the chainsaw underneath, right? Like, this is what sound design is about. You have to think of what complements the video that you want to show. So what does all this mean for you, the artist? It means to think about sound. If you're a visual artist, if you make paintings, photography, sculpt tactile things like jewelry or ceramic pots, think about how the sound, what kind of sound you want to go with your pots, with your paintings, with your photography. Think about what kind of sound might be impacting it in the space that is being shown that you might not have control over. Think about that. Think about how the reversing beepers of the construction site next to your art gallery are going to impact the way your art is seen. You know, you might want that, you know. Play techno in the room then, with that going on, if that's happening all day long for the condo development next door. So consider the audio. So I'm considering it. What's going on with me this week? I'm in the thick of the audio stuff. I've given myself a deadline of July 1st to launch the first YouTube video of a series that I'm doing. It's a monthly series. I'll tell you the links here when I put it up. But it'll be about the photography, the Tribe magazine photography, the birth of electronic music and DJ culture in Canada. All these photographs I shot for Tribe. I'm going to do a video series on some of the photographs as I digitize them and talk about them. And the environment they were shot, and what the scene was like at the time they were shot, and what was going on in the room, and all that stuff. So that's how it's going to be on each one of these little episodes. Each one is going to have a little bit of music. All the music will be custom made by me here. And I'm going to narrate and talk about these images. And the whole idea here is I want to put a stake in the ground. I want to put a record in the ground about this collection. So when I'm no longer around, maybe 30 years from now, if YouTube is still around, if somebody's interested in finding out about the thinking behind it, what I was trying to do, and they can decide whether I did it or not, or how it worked out, they can see what I was trying to do by finding this YouTube video series. And then maybe it'll help them understand the work even more, or understand the period in Canadian history and in world history in electronic music culture even better. So that's the plan. But I'm going to make it a very rich series. It's not going to be fancy looking, but it's going to be very well made and hand tooled, because I'm an artist and that's what I do. So the audio is going to be good. The video is going to be as best as I can make it. And the photography, well, we've got what we shot back then, so we can't go back in time and change it. So it'll be what it is. But let me tell you, it's good. So that's the scoop this week. Use sound. Think about sound for your art. You know, if you can sell a house with sound in an open house, you can also sell your paintings on a wall in a rented room with sound in the room. If you're doing an opening, you know, get a DJ. Get a DJ. And not a banging DJ unless that's what your art is about. You can get a DJ to play jazz, you know. You can you can do all kinds of stuff with sound. Do it. Make it interesting. And make your shows interesting and find the right sounds that work with your art. Anyway, that's it for me, Alex D. Today, I'm going to work on the vocal bass, which I'm trying to learn. It came yesterday, and I'm discovering that is completely different from the FM synthesizer that I learned how to use. It's different. The thinking with this synthesizer, it's not like two streams of water aimed at each other. It's like a block of wood. You're given a block of wood, and then you have knobs that you have to turn in order to chisel away areas of the block of wood to make it into what you want. It's strange. It's called analog synthesis, audio analog synthesis, and it's different from FM synthesis because it seems kind of subtractive. It's like with jewelry making. You know, you're removing pieces, you're polishing, you're taking off chunks, or like carving a head out of a hunk of marble. You know, chipping away and leaving the design in plain view or in plain sound in audio. So I'm learning how to do that, and I struggled last night with it. I gotta say, it's not all peaches and cream here with learning with me. I was like 2 hours. That's probably why I was late this morning. It was like 2 or 3 hours working with this bass synthesizer and getting nowhere with it at all. Well, it might be better today, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's it for me, Alex D. Get out there and make art. Mix it up. You know, mix it up. Throw some audio at your art. If you're an audio, if you're an audio person making audio art, get some visual artists in there to say, you know, I need something to spice up my audio thing, and you might have a match made in heaven for your next gallery show. See you next week. The Cannabis Goldsmith is produced by Tribe Communications, Inc. in the Thousand Islands area of Ontario, Canada. We recorded in our studio in southeastern Ontario along the St. Lawrence River, where we can see America across the river. Subscribe to the Cannabis Goldsmith wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the show and tell your fellow artist friends about it. It's the only artist podcast coming to you right from a studio every Wednesday morning. We'll see you next week on the Cannabis Goldsmith. Oh, if you want to reach me, send me an email, alexd@cannabisgoldsmith.com. Thanks for listening.